Welcome to the Palace Theater's Broadway Buzz presented by Webster Bank. My name is Stuart Brown, founder of the 24/7 online Broadway radio station, SoundsOfBroadway.com. If you are looking for non-stop Broadway music, tune into Sounds of Broadway, playing the best from off-Broadway, Broadway, and the London stage. I'll be your host for this podcast series. For this edition of the Broadway Buzz, I'll be talking about R.E.S.P.E.C.T. That's R.E.S.P.E.C.T., an electrifying tribute celebrating the music of the legendary singer Aretha Franklin. This concert experience takes audiences on a journey of love, tragedy, courage, and triumph. Starring a live band and supreme vocalists, come experience a night of music by one of the greatest artists of all time. The concert features all your favorite hits in one evening, including Natural Woman, Think, I Knew You Were Waiting for Me, Chain of Love, Respect, and many more. Show dates, Friday, February 17th at 8 p.m. and Saturday, February 18th at 2 and 8 p.m. For ticket information, go to the Palace website, and that is palacetheaterct.org. Well, let me give you some background information on Aretha Franklin. She is often referred to as the Queen of Soul. She has twice been named 9th in Rolling Stone's 100 Greatest Artists of All Time. In 2010, the magazine ranked Franklin number 1 on its list of the 100 greatest singers of all time and called her the greatest singer of her generation. When the magazine listed the Women in Rock 50 Essential Albums in 2002 and again in 2012, it listed Franklin's 1967 album, I Never Loved a Man the Way I Love You, number 1. The National Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences awarded her a Grammy Legend Award in 1991, then the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award in 1994. She has been a Kennedy Center honoree, a National Medal of Arts winner, and in 2005 was bestowed the Presidential Medal of Honor. Franklin has received many honorary doctorates, including from Harvard, Princeton, NYU, Brown University, and the Berklee College of Music. She has had global sales of over 75 million records, making her one of the world's best-selling artists of all time. She recorded 112 charted singles on the U.S. Billboard charts, and that included 73 on the Hot 100, 17 top 10 pop singles, 100 R&B entries, and 20 number 1 R&B singles. She has won 18 Grammy Awards. That's out of 44 nominations, including the first 8 awards for Best Female R&B Vocalist. That was 1968 to 1975. As a child, Franklin was noticed for her gospel singing at the New Bethel Baptist Church in Detroit, where her father, C.L. Franklin, was a minister. After turning 18, she signed with Columbia Records. In January of 1961, Columbia issued her first album, Aretha, and that was with the Ray Bryant Combo. The album featured her first single to chart the Billboard Hot 100, Won't Be Long, and that also peaked at number 7 on the R&B charts. Her Columbia recordings saw her performing in diverse genres such as standards, vocals, jazz, blues, doo-wop, and rhythm and blues. In the 1960s, during a performance at the Regal Theater in Chicago, WVON radio personality Purvis Spann announced that Franklin should be crowned the Queen of Soul and ceremoniously placed a crown on her head. By 1964, Franklin began recording more pop music, and by the mid-1960s, she was making over $100,000 a year from her performances. However, she struggled with commercial success while at Columbia. In 1966, she left Columbia, and Jerry Wexler at Atlantic signed her. Wexler decided that he wanted to take advantage of her gospel background. The Atlantic days would lead to a series of hits for Aretha Franklin from 1967 to early 1972. In January 1967, she reworked the Otis Redding song Respect. She modified it with a supercharged interlude featuring the emphatic spelling out of the song's title. Her frenetic version was released in April of 1967, reached number 1 on the pop charts and the R&B charts. Respect became her signature song and was later hailed as a civil rights and feminist anthem. In 1968, Franklin issued the top-selling albums Lady Soul and Aretha Now, and that includes some of her most popular hit singles, including Chain of Fools, Ain't No Way, Think, and I Say a Little Prayer. In January 1972, she returned to gospel music in a 2-night live church recording, and the album Amazing Grace was produced, and that reinterpreted standards such as Mahalia Jackson's How I Got Over. Originally released in June of 1972, it sold more than 2 million copies and is one of the best-selling gospel albums of all time. In the late 1970s, however, her career began to sag, so in 1980 she left Atlantic and signed with Clive Davis on his Arista Records label. She achieved a gold record for the first time with Arista, and that was the first time in 7 years, with the 1982 album Jump to It. The album's title track was her first top 40 single on the pop charts in 6 years. In 1985, inspired by a desire to have a younger sound in her music, Who's Zooming Who became her first Arista album to be certified platinum. The album sold well over 1 million copies thanks to the hits Freeway of Love, the title track, and I Knew You Were Waiting for Me, her international #1 duet with George Michael. Her final Arista album, So Damn Happy, was released in 2003 and featured the Grammy-winning song Wonderful. After a storied career and a long illness, Aretha Franklin passed away at her home on August 16, 2018, at the age of 76. This concludes this episode of the Broadway Buzz. Remember, R.E.S.P.E.C.T, R-E.S.P.E.C.T, will be playing at the Palace Theater on Friday, February 17th, and Saturday, February 18th. For information, go to the website palacetheaterct.org. You've been listening to the Palace Theater's Broadway Buzz presented by Webster Bank. My name is Stuart Brown, founder of the 24/7 online Broadway radio station, soundsofbroadway.com. If you are looking for non-stop Broadway music, tune into soundsofbroadway.com, playing the best from off-Broadway, Broadway, and the London stage. Thank you for listening. I hope you will join me on our next podcast episode. Until then, stay safe, be well, and be informed with the Broadway Buzz.